Welcome to Me, Myself, and Liberty. I'm Leslie Nesmith, and I have a lot of great stuff for you today. First of all, Matt Moore is going to be with us. He is our cryptocurrency expert, and he has an interesting, some information for us about an interim study that he did with Senator Nathan Dahm. So we're going to talk about that today. Also, if you could go to OklahomaTaxpayersUnite.com/OTU-store. I know that's a lot to remember, so you could just go to the website and find the store. You can support us there by just making a donation, or you can purchase some of our really cool stuff like these mouse pads and supplements and coffee cups and t-shirts, all kinds of things. Every dollar helps, and it keeps us on the air getting the conservative news out there. Also, something really cool. If you haven't heard us talk about this, there's a movie that's going to be coming out in February of next year. It is called Black Wall Street. It's based on true events of what actually happened during the Tulsa race riots. You didn't really read about it in history books, but it's a very important part of Oklahoma history. But what's especially interesting about this movie, anyway, to me and to some of the people here at OTU, some of us are in the movie. I have about 5 lines in the movie, but Moto is actually one of the stars. He's listed on the credits as starring. So who knew that he had acting ability? And some of our other friends are in there too. So after this intro, you guys are going to get to see the first trailer that has come out. It's just the first one. There will be some others to come. So if you'll see Moto in there, but you have to look for me because I'm at like about the 58-second point for about 1/2 of a second. So exciting. We will keep you guys updated on the progress of that movie. And all right. I will be back with Matt Moore.
Life comes at you fast. Good people. Great friends. The love of a good woman. It's not always fair.
Which way you going, boy?
Did you hear what happened?
That boy has no right.
They got Dale.
What?
Who got Dale?
I didn't do anything.
Sheriff?
Should hang for that.
So this day, they gonna know. If they take one of us, they gonna have to take us all.
I never meant for this to happen.
Drives a truck. Visit cdluniversity.org. At CDL University, and another success, another one drives a truck. Hey, gonna help you too. Another one drives a truck.
Dear Miller, CDL University. For some of you, it's already too late. You're standing over in a dirt field, waiting in line to back a truck, and it's been 3 weeks now. If you're gonna do this, do it right. Come to CDL University. Get your CDL.
Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty. I want to have you guys take just a second and start share this podcast and tag all of your friends, especially those who have some interest in cryptocurrency, because we have Matt Moore joining us via satellite. That's what they used to say in the olden days, but I guess it's not really via satellite anymore, is it? So welcome, Matt.
Hey, thank you for having me, Leslie.
Hey.
I'm waiting for the case of liberty.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you're here today, and I'm very interested in this. Cryptocurrency is still kind of one of those, I don't know what you'd call it, almost like a untouchable thing to some of our audience. It's kind of confusing. Some people are scared of it. I still have those people that message me, and they're afraid that people are going to use it for like running guns and trafficking people and all this other stuff. Sadly, that happens with cash and other types of currency too, but this is really a good thing for us, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the way I look at it is just like a gun or a hammer is a tool, or the internet is a tool. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is a tool. And when you have tools, people can use them for bad things and people can use them for good things. And so I think there's just a lot of scare tactics and fear mongering when people are talking about cryptocurrencies and them being used for negative things. I mean, people were arguing the same thing when the internet was coming out. It's only for pornographers and for, drug dealers and all that stuff. So I would say that it's just all on how you look at it, and to advocate that we use it properly, but we also advocate that we have a decentralized system that really can enhance our freedom.
Yes. So you recently partnered with Senator Nathan Dahm for an interim study on cryptocurrency and blockchain. And I know that is a mouthful, especially to some of the people maybe watching who are just kind of getting into this kind of thing. What was the purpose of the interim study? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in 2019, I helped Senator Dahm author some of the first pro-friendly cryptocurrency legislation in the state of Oklahoma. And unfortunately, due to a lot of misunderstanding or just not getting the technology or why the bills even apply, and I think there were some forces at play that were advocating that the bills not be heard. It was a real frustration, because we have states like Wyoming who've already passed 13 bills in their state that are very pro cryptocurrency and to the industry, and businesses are moving there because they know that they have a safe and positive environment to operate and do business in. And so what I wanted to do with Nathan was I wanted to get some key players together here in the state who understand blockchain, who understand cryptocurrencies and its implications, and really talk to the Senate about getting rid of some of these fearful ideas or misunderstandings they may have, and give them the whole picture. Much like when the internet was kind of coming to the surface, who would have thought that today we're Skyping, we're doing this via my iPhone and the internet. I mean, if you told somebody back in 1994 that they could run Netflix on their modem, I mean, they would think you're crazy. So it's really just getting them to see the idea that there's a lot of opportunity in this, and if we can position ourselves, we can be the next Silicon Valley for this type of technology.
Yes, no, I totally agree. And sometimes, I don't know, Oklahoma, I hate it when we have this backwards approach to things where we kind of keep our head in the sand and we're afraid to be on the cutting edge of things. So maybe you can be a big part of getting Oklahoma where they need to be, where this is concerned.
Oh yeah, that's my whole narrative is to help educate people on what it is, how it works, and what we need to be focused on. Because the one thing I like to say is this technology can be either used to enhance our freedom, or it can be used to enslave us, and the road that we choose is up to us, and we have to understand the technology in order to choose the correct pathway. Because if we just blindly accept what a government is telling us or what a big corporation is telling us, and we jump on that boat, then we're making a grave mistake.
Yeah. So you're saying don't blindly accept what government tells us? Just so I'm clear.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's a big surprise to you.
Yeah. I think that's probably pretty good advice all around.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you graciously sent me your slides from the presentation that you did. So we're going to walk through those today because I think that that'll be the best way to get the audience to understand exactly what's going on with it. So we will start with that, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
All right. So there's your little intro. Okay, so let's look at the second slide there. Cryptocurrencies from fringe to mainstream. So let's talk about that.
So when I was there at the Senate, the first objective that I had was to illustrate that this technology and these cryptocurrencies have now gone from fringe to mainstream. And if you're not following the news and you're not following the developments, then you're going to have a hard time believing some of the things that I'm going to say, before these slides. So that's why I included some of these headlines and these news stories to give people just the gravity of what's taking place if you're not paying attention. And just one of the biggest developments has been that the owner of the New York Stock Exchange, the company that actually owns the New York Stock Exchange, has rolled out their own version of a cryptocurrency exchange called BACT. And what they have offered is they have offered to do futures contracts that actually pay out in and just goes to show that in 2019, we have been experiencing some on-ramps for institutional investors to come in and get into this field. And I have mixed emotions about it because obviously, the financialization of the cryptocurrencies and the derivatives and all that, there can be a hand of manipulation in that if we're not careful, but it's bound to happen. And so I'm just, sharing some of these stories to say, listen, even the big boys are paying attention. I mean, here on this other one, Fidelity has launched digital assets. It's a division that they have, and they're opening up the opportunity to invest in these digital cryptocurrencies assets for select investors, and they're soon going to open it up to more people. On slide 3, and I don't know if you've got it.
Yeah, we can flip to the third slide there.
But the CME out of Chicago says that the Bitcoin futures contracts that they offer, they're gaining a lot of interest from big investors. And then recently, an interview with the top U.S. regulators concerning ETFs, they mentioned that a Bitcoin ETF is not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, and meeting certain expectations that they have. And then moving on to slide 4. A lot of your audience and myself particularly, not a big fan of the UN, but the United Nations nonprofit called UNICEF, they've actually did a deal where they're doing $6 billion. They're basically investing and allowing donations for UNICEF to accept this stuff. And so even Ethereum, they've got Ethereum. They're investing in Ethereum, which is another cryptocurrency. You have TD Ameritrade, who is also teaching and providing the opportunity for people to trade Bitcoin futures. And then on slide 5, this is the one that I really like because it really shocks people. Just this last year in June, Bitcoin's status as a currency was larger than Russia's currency. And so that's pretty significant. I mean, we're talking like the 8th largest currency in the world. And then in 2017, in April of 2017, Japan came out as a government and legalized Bitcoin as legal tender. So that was a big development in 2017. On this next page, on slide 6, Bloomberg did an article where they were talking about some of these major universities investing into funds that are directly investing into crypto assets. And so Yale, which has, I think, the second largest endowment, they raised about $400 million for this fund. And then Ohio, the state of Ohio actually allowed and made it possible for businesses to pay their taxes in Bitcoin, and they have plans of rolling that out to the everyday citizen. So I thought that was pretty interesting that Ohio was jumping on the bandwagon. So those are a handful of news stories.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, well, that's a lot of information, and I want
Sure.
to make sure that we give the audience a chance to kind of digest it. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
As you can see on the left, the chart starting back at 1950, every time the unemployment rate falls under 4%, a recession is usually not far away. Unfortunately, the Fed, due to its policies back in 2008 and 2009, is running out of tools to get us out of the next downturn, and they will most likely resort to negative interest rates and continual quantitative easing to stimulate the economy. In the next chart, you can see that the national debt is climbing every year and will eventually become unsustainable. America is currently over $22 trillion in debt, and all of this is happening because the nature of our fiat system requires us to continue to borrow and spend more and more. There is always more debt in the system than there is currency, and any effort to substantially pay down the debt sends the system into a deflationary collapse. A global monetary reset, in my opinion, will most likely happen in our lifetime.
Hi, I'm Leslie Nesmith, host of Me, Myself, and Liberty, right here on OTU Media. I'd like to ask you to go to www.patreon.com/OTU Media to support us. By going to patreon.com, you are supporting everything that we do here at OTU Media and Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite. We are getting the word out, so join us. Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty. If you haven't, make sure you tag your friends. This is very important information. It is the future of currency. All right, so we have Matt Moore joining us remotely from Tulsa, and he is a Bitcoin, or a cryptocurrency, I should say, expert. So we are going through his presentation that he did on this interim study. And we figured it's the best way to help the audience understand exactly what he's talking about here. So why is the world embracing Bitcoin? So this is the next slide, and this is really good information here. So talk through these points.
Absolutely. So the news stories that I were mentioning earlier, that may prompt the question in people's mind, why are these big institutions interested in it? Why are people investing in it? And why are they making a big fuss about it? And I would argue, other than just the ability to make large profits, it really goes much deeper than that. Bitcoin is a type of non-correlated asset to traditional markets, much like gold and silver. So it's often seen as a hedge against a broken financial system. It is also decentralized, and it's controlled by no one. So it's literally the world's first unconfiscatable asset. If you know how to move it, store it, keep it, it really is. It provides an opportunity of monetary sovereignty. It's an open source system, and it provides trust. And it comes down to creating this system of consensus that's always updating at the same time and agreeing on the same information. It's a distributed ledger. And I would say it's the Internet of Value. It's a very large peer-to-peer network, and it's the ability to make digital information scarce. And we've never really had that opportunity before. We're so used to copying, pasting digital information. It is also the most secure computer network in the world when you look at the size of its blockchain. And there's a security aspect to it. So I would argue that also a lot of these institutions are building financial products and on-ramps to this asset class, and especially Bitcoin, because there's involved in that computer's network. It has a 10 years of existence. AIM that the Bitcoin is using, the current blockchain that Bitcoin is using, has never been hacked. And I think it was in 2014, it had more computing power than the top 500 supercomputers combined, and that has only grown exponentially since 2014. It is the hardest form of money that the world has ever seen. It's got gold and silver is just kind of an estimate that we think is above and below ground. It is also the world's first truly global money. It is permissionless. I don't need permission to download a wallet and send money to a loved one in Russia or to a relief effort in Venezuela. No middleman is going to tell me how I can spend or send my money. It has the first mover advantage. It has what we call network effect, whereas the network grows stronger, there's more incentive to use that network. And it is also an apolitical money. It's not tied to the whims of politicians and governments in what they want to do. I think that's the big reason why governments, or why, I shouldn't say governments, but the reason why institutions and people are really embracing this opportunity.
So Bitcoin, so on your summary slide here, I think this is important. So it's valuable because it's the world's first peer-to-peer, decentralized, and unconfiscatable asset. And I think that is the unconfiscatable, the people that I talk to, that right there is probably, I mean, that's very key. That's one of the reasons that it is so appealing to so many. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you have the ability to memorize your private seed phrase and go across to any country, whether you're being persecuted or whether your national currency is being hyperinflated, there's a real value in being able to do that.
Also, the safest and smartest tool for transferring value in a digital age, monetary sovereignty, which is, in today's world, that is incredibly important.
That's the key.
All right, so let's look at the next slide there. Slide 9.
Slide 9. So in this slide, I just wanted to build the perspective that in the slide, there are bubbles. There's estimates of market capitalizations of different asset classes and different marketplaces and different companies even. And really goes to show you that the room for growth and liquidity to come into the cryptocurrency space is enormous when you can look at the total money supply in the world. And so just to give you an example, I mean, some of this is a little bit older information, so it's a little bit different. But Bitcoin's market capitalization is roughly, I think, about 300 billion. And then you've got, or no, actually, I think it's 100 and something billion. I'd have to double check the stats. It changes all the time. But if you go down the line, you can see that all money is 6.5 trillion. You got stock markets, world stock markets at 67.5 trillion. You've got physical money supply, your base money, at 34.4 trillion. And then you've got even companies like Amazon and Apple that just hit $1 trillion in market capitalization. And so my point is the cryptocurrency market has not even gotten to $1 trillion in its market capitalization, even in the height of 2017. So I just wanted to paint them the picture that there's a lot of growth opportunity in this sector.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, let's look at that next slide there. And
that next slide correlates with the other one that I had, which is a lot of people look at 2017 in this very small window of when Bitcoin had this meteoric rise and then had this 85 or 80% dump in price. And I really wanted to paint the picture that when you're looking at it in such a narrow viewpoint, and you really got to come out at a wide viewpoint and see that don't be deceived by just a small window of data, because even though we had a higher percentage rise compared to the dot-com bubble back in the day, its market capitalization compared to the dot-com bubble pales in comparison. When you look at the dot-com bubble back in the 90s and early 2000s, it had a market capitalization of $6.7 trillion, and that was primarily just American money. And when you look at the crypto market today, like I said, it's anywhere from $200 to $300 billion. And at the height of 2017, it was at 800 billion. It didn't even reach $1 trillion. So I just think it's important to realize that this is global money. not just America. And so this is what's going to happen with cryptocurrencies is going to make the dot-com bubble look like a picnic.
On this next slide here, and as it says, Bitcoin is highly volatile, but continues to make new highs after every supply halving.
Yes.
This is really interesting because so I invested in my husband and I, we invested in cryptocurrency. It's been a few years ago, so we kind of got in, a little earlier than some people. And the volatility of it is what scares so many people off. But it's to be expected, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's to be expected for two big reasons. A, it's an emerging asset class. And so the market is really starting to figure out what's the value of this thing. And then second of all, the market capitalization is tiny. I mean, when you've got a market capitalization smaller than Amazon and Apple, you can have a big fish jump in there and buy and sell and move the market significantly. But I would also argue that when you're looking at things like Bitcoin that has a limited supply built into its code that becomes almost impossible to even change due to its trajectory that it's already on, because the only way that you could ever change the supply of Bitcoin is by getting 98% of the miners to agree to accept a code change from a developer or from a set of developers. And so there's this incentive of like, why would I want to increase the supply of Bitcoin? And we're talking hundreds of thousands of people raising their hand and saying, yes, I want to devalue my holdings and cut my money value in half because I want to increase the money supply. And so when you have a currency that is more deflationary in nature because its inflation is being cut every 4 years, and then people are being careless and stupid and losing access to their money because they're not keeping it safe like they should, then that money is lost forever. And so it really comes down to supply and demand economics, to where if there and the demand and the adoption continues to rise as this hedge against a broken financial system, then yes, there will be volatility. The price will continue to rise. So that's what I argue is, don't look at the all-time highs. Look at the 10-year period. It goes on to make higher lows and not just higher highs. So like, just to give you an example, just at the beginning of this year, the low was about $3,000. It rose to about 13,000 this year, but now we're getting to the end of the year and it's around $8,000. So it just goes to show that if you had bought in the beginning, then you're doing good.
Okay. All right. Yes, mine is doing very well. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons. All right.
Another one drives a truck. Visit CDLUniversity.org. At CDL University, and another success, and another success. Another one drives a truck. Hey, gonna help you too. Another one drives a truck.
Okay, so on slide 15, you'll see cryptocurrencies are the future of the global monetary system, and I know that's a bold statement. Recently, at a central bank conference hosted by the Federal Reserve in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Mark Carney, who is England's central bank governor and also the former governor of Canada's central bank, stood up and gave a keynote on why he thinks the Federal Reserve dollar has reached the end of its reign as the world reserve currency. Here you can see China rushing to mint its own digital currency. The People's Bank of China is poised to become the very first major central bank to issue a digital version of its currency. A top Federal Reserve official, Rob Kaplan, was quoted saying that the U.S. Central Bank is actively looking at and debating issuance of a digital currency amid growing worries among current and former regulators that the dollar might be at risk of losing its status as the world reserve currency.
Welcome back to Me, Myself, and Liberty. talking to Matt Moore here. He is the expert on cryptocurrency. And so now we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons. And one of the things I find interesting is, so it says Bitcoin is more scarce than gold and ideal for a digital world and AI transactions.
Yes, and I am not by all means, I am not a hater of gold. I am actually a big gold and silver bug as well. I think they're going to have a place in the future, and I think they're wonderful stores of value. However, Bitcoin, based off of how the system is set up and how extremely, if not impossible to change, it has a cap of 21 million. So whereas gold, it's just an estimate. We don't know how much is on an asteroid out there. We don't know how much is below ground. It's all just an idea. And things like silver, that's most, and it's in a garbage pile because of it's all in our electronics. So when it comes to Bitcoin, the pros come to this idea that it's a very rare and limited supply. It is public, so the amount and the monetary policy of Bitcoin is always known because it's a open ledger system that anybody could check if they wanted to. Millennials and Gen Z, millennials are now the largest generation, and they're going to be more inclined to use something like a Bitcoin versus a bar or coin of gold. But some of the few cons of Bitcoin, because as much as I love Bitcoin, I understand that this is a very speculative investment. I'm not a financial advisor, and so don't take any of this stuff that I'm saying as gospel. Do your own research, make your own decisions. But it is an emerging asset class. It has a high volatility, and there's still a lot of risk at play when it comes to, what's it going to do in the future. I'm pretty confident that I know what it's going to do in the future, but I just have to be safe and say that. And a few of the cons or a few of the pros of gold is that it has thousands of years of history. It's tangible. You can feel it. People are aware of it. It has almost the same value that it did thousands of years ago. So it's been a great form of money. Constitutionally, if we were to follow the law, I truly believe that gold and silver is what we should be using, but unfortunately, we have veered off way far from that. And the world is, again, like I said, familiar with it. Central banks are buying it up. Some of the cons of gold, though, is that it's heavy. It's not easy to store. It's not easy to use. It requires trust from a government or a third party to keep large amounts of it safe, and audits can be manipulated.
Let's see here.
This next one on slide 13, are some of the companies that are involved. And I'm not going to go into the details of what they're doing, but some of the companies that are either accepting Bitcoin or developing projects around blockchain and cryptocurrency. You have Overstock.com, you have Amazon, you have Google, you have HTC, you have Samsung. There are a lot of big players and corporations jumping into this game.
Oh yeah, which should give people, that should give people more confidence, especially as time goes on. I know that it can be scary, but it's the future, Yeah. It's kind of like, do you remember when, well, I don't know.
I'm 32. Okay,
I was going to say, I don't know how young you are. But like when ATM cards started becoming the way to pay, and, it was like, I remember when the check machines, when the check machine, when you would run the check through and it would read the check reader, I remember a lady, I worked for this company, she freaked out. Like she was like, just running it through a check reader. She was convinced they were stealing her bank information and that kind of thing. And now we're so far beyond that now.
Yep.
So people just calm down.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. It's just part of the progress here.
I agree 100%.
So what else? Let's. I know we're coming short on time here. So let's get to the meat of this. What do people need to know about this at the end of the day?
At the end of the day, what people need to know is that the industry is growing, the world is moving in this direction, and we really have two paths that before us. And when I say two paths, I'm just going to read a couple of these headlines from some of the big countries and central banks that are now proposing their own cryptocurrency or a central bank version of a cryptocurrency. Just to give you an idea, Mark Carney, governor of England's central bank, made a case in Jackson Hole, Wyoming at a Federal Reserve conference with a bunch of central banks banks, time for the dollar being the world reserve currency is coming to an end, and we need a cryptocurrency to replace it that's weighted in a basket of national currencies. You have China rushing. They will be the very first to launch their own cryptocurrency in their national currency. You have the Federal Reserve actively debating whether they're going to do a digital cryptocurrency dollar. And so, and even Canada's in this debate. But what I want people to realize is there are historical precedents that are like the laws of gravity. Every 80 to 90 years, the world reserve currency changes. If you go back all the way to 1450, the average age is about 80 to 90 years. And if you do the math to when we became that status of the world reserve currency, we're at 75 years. Okay? The second thing that's kind of coming together, that's converging together, the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power since the creation of the Federal Reserve. Okay, the average lifespan of a fiat currency is 27 years. It usually doesn't go past 50 years. Nixon took us off the gold standard in the 70s. We became a complete fiat currency. So that's a lot of information to consider. The third one is that we are on the precipice of I think, not only a recession, but possibly a depression and a reset, because this has been the largest economic expansion in American history, and everything in life is cyclical. I'm not against Trump. This has nothing to do with him. This has everything to do with the laws of economics and the business cycles and all this. And so we are getting ready to have three major economic cycles converge at the same time. And I think if you watch what the central bankers are saying, if you watch what governments are doing, they are moving in this direction. So my question to the audience is, you need to do your homework. You need to learn about this technology, because if we do not embrace a decentralized form of this technology that has privacy or has a level of the ability to be sovereign over your own money, then we will be enslaved by the chains of governments and central banks due to them, having full control, knowing where you spend your money, how you spend your money, every transaction recorded. They want a cashless society, and so this was my heat of warning to everybody, and even the Oklahoma Senate was, yes, we have a tremendous opportunity to welcome this industry into our state. These companies that are building the hardware, these companies that are building financial products or insurance around this stuff, they're developers. There's a lot of opportunity, and we need to be very pro-friendly, and we need to be able to protect this kind of asset and have laws in place that respect this personal property.
Yes, indeed. And for everyone out there, it is so important to understand diversification. And I mean, you hear about this on Glenn Beck, and he was saying for the longest time, he was saying, you know what? It's like the stock market in the sense that you never invest more than you can afford to lose, because that could happen. But it is the future, and as time goes on, the volatility is going to stabilize. And for me personally, and I am also not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving anyone advice. But if I were giving, let's say, my children advice, and I have given them this advice, diversify. Definitely, you do want to have some cryptocurrency. You want to have gold and silver, and you want to have the paper money, and you want to have, so when the economy crashes and hits the fan, you also want to have liquor and cigarettes to sell.
That's right.
That's what I always tell my kids. So whether you drink or smoke, doesn't matter. Somebody's going to want to buy that from you.
Absolutely.
It is a type of currency.
I couldn't agree more with you, and I am not, I don't like to be perceived as a doom and gloom guy, but I do want to be a realist, and I want to be like the Boy Scouts. I want to be ready for anything.
That's exactly right. Okay, so tell the audience where they can find you, if they have any questions, and tell them what else you do too, because this isn't the only thing that you do.
Yeah, so obviously you can tell I'm really passionate about it. This is a hobby of mine. I consult people in how to get into the space and understand cryptocurrencies. But my main line of work is I'm a professional fundraiser for nonprofits, and I also lead a group called the Young Businessmen of Tulsa here in our city, where we help train and equip entrepreneurs to find and pursue their purpose. So I'm very active in the community, and I just have a heart to help people and to make a positive Christ-like influence on culture.
Awesome. We need more people like you.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being here today, and I'm sure that you will be back again, right?
I hope so.
Okay. Well, coming up, I have your friends and mine. The guys from Vibeland are going to come and do a segment with us and continue the conversation. But I appreciate you coming on, Matt, and we will see you again. Oh,
Can I, can I give them a website to visit?
Yeah, please do.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. If you want to get in contact with me about the cryptocurrency stuff, you can go to cryptomore.com. It's all one word, cryptomore.com.
Cryptomore, Moore, right?
Correct. My last name,
Yes.
yep.
Yep, cryptomore.com. Okay. All right, well, we will see you again soon, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Leslie.
All right, thanks. We'll be right back.
Introducing all new, safe, natural relief. A cannabinoid-rich, clarity and focus formula with 17 essential supplements. When it matters most, you've got a job to do. Anxiety isn't an option. Programmed to keep you moving. A product exclusively manufactured for Active Duty RX by Cantech Labs.
Welcome back, and as you can see, I have Bryson Cassidy with Vibeland here with me. Okay, so we've been talking cryptocurrency. I know that the audience out there, they're still like, trying to take notes and understand and wrap their minds around this. So you guys have something exciting. So tell the audience about VBLD.
So VBLD is our company's cryptocurrency. We have issued our own tokenized asset as a company called VBLD, as Leslie mentioned, and it trades openly on various decentralized exchanges, and you're able to use it as a payment mechanism, as well as it's really a company stock. It's really ownership in the Vibeland network itself.
Yeah, VBLD, Vibeland Digital is what it stands for, and it's just the currency that makes the Vibeland network go. So it's really exactly what Bryce just described. It's decentralized, and so there's nobody that can tell you what to do with it or how to use it. It's a full scale token.
So tell the audience what the Vibeland network is.
Sure. So the Vibeland Network is a group of artists and entrepreneurs right here located in Oklahoma. We decided to locate our headquarters here in Oklahoma. The large majority of our network is currently in Oklahoma, but as we grow, we have several people in Dallas, Texas, all over the globe really that are now involved in the Vibeland Network. And we have just recently published our new website, vibeland.org. Which is our initial coin offering. It's our first sell to the public VBLD. So much like an initial public offering on the stock market, you can go and get VBLD for the first time as the public on our website, vibeland.org. But more about Vibeland, we have our headquarters located here, right here in Edmond, Oklahoma, and we have recording studios. We host podcasts out of there. We have graphic designers, we have various artists, we have a political campaign that we're running out of there. We have a lot of things that are happening, and at the core of our company is the cryptocurrency, the ability to empower and enable people through this technology is very valuable.
Yeah, and we're looking to tokenize systems as much as we can. A lot of people talk about token economics, and this is what
Not
it looks
token,
like.
but token.
Yes, yes, tokenized.
And it's like Chuck E. Cheese, you know, Chuck E. Cheese tokens is a good example,
yeah.
you know.
And I mean, Dan Belcher is the guy who right now is able to incentivize volunteers to come out, or can give people VBLD for helping out with the campaign. And so that's something that I think we're really trying to do, is now expand what people have previously found tokenized system-wise, and have some unique mechanisms to make it just fun for everybody, and to make it where it's going to operate as a full economy.
Very cool. So I've been to your studios there, or I guess it's your headquarters. It's pretty impressive. I know, and it's not that you want everybody to come and just show up at your location, and it is really impressive. I had the pleasure of recording, I think it was a breaking news segment from there a little while back, because you guys are practically within walking distance of my house, which is awfully convenient.
Absolutely.
But it really is fantastic, cutting edge. And so I didn't tell you I was gonna ask you this, so I'll put you guys on the spot a little bit. But you do have recording artists, and because I know when I've been there, I run into guys that are there to record all kinds of like music and stuff, right? Music
Right.
So do you want to just talk a little bit about that? I mean, just kind of what they come there to do.
Sure. So the artists themselves, and Vibeland is much kind of, you can think of it as like a membership clubhouse in a way. So it's about holding the company asset VBLD, and it gets you various things. It gets you access to headquarters, or to the recording studio, or to our audio engineers, or to graphic designers. And everybody is willing to work within that network and that economy for VBLD. So everything is, and there's various ways to earn VBLD. You just go to HQ, you check in, and you get 100 VBLD on the Vibeland app. So that's there's a lot of various ways following us on social media and things like that. But those artists, they do come there to record. We have various podcasts that we've produced. And still produce ourselves, Vibeland Sports, but they are recording music in particularly, and tokenizing music is incredibly important, as many platforms, iTunes, Spotify, etc., have taken advantage of artists in particular, and they don't receive the monetary compensation that they truly deserve from these platforms. Because Apple is taking such a large chunk of it.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a way, the Vibeland network is a way for people to take back ownership of their data. That's why it's on the blockchain, and you own your data. And instead of people right now just giving it away for free to Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and whenever you post something on those sites, they own all of your data, and they can use your photos and run ads on them, and you're not getting a dime for that, but they're making money on your hard work and the content that you're putting out there. And this is flipping that on its head, to where now the content creators are going to be the ones who are able to actually benefit and monetize what they're doing, and they're rewarded for the effort and for the quality that they're able to put out for the consumers.
I think it's really cool. And I know it's a lot of information for the audience. There are people out there that understand it more than others. But where can they go to find you guys? I know we mentioned the website, but where can they go to find you and maybe learn more about Vibeland and VBLD?
And we have a lot of information on our website, and I promise you, the more that you read, the more you'll become intrigued and understand that this is technology, much like in the early 90s with the internet, that needs to be adopted, and we're trying to explain to people how to sign up on email.
And it's not scary like it,
Right. Sometimes it feels like we're trying to sign people up on AOL in 1993. And it's like nobody knows what it is. They don't know what an email account is. And so a lot of education that we try to do as well to help people out. But you can go to Vibeland.org. Again, that's where all of our token sale information is right there. It also has our white paper on there, which is just the company's mission and where we're going, our philosophies behind creating the asset, and what we want to do with it, and the roadmap to get there. So all that information is there. We're also on multiple social media. You can follow us at Vibeland Inc. on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I think that's about all of the plugs that I can think of. We also have 2 podcasts on Apple's podcast or Spotify. You can search for just Vibeland Media, and you'll find all those under there. It's the Vibe and Vibeland Sports are the 2 that we put out every single week. So.
And I have my VBLD.
That's right. Yes, you are a VBLD holder, part of the network.
I am, which is awesome. So, okay, anything else you guys want to share with the audience?
No, just I encourage you to go look us up, vibeland.org, and try to educate yourself as much as you can on this technology as it is becoming more and more prevalent. And you know, we're a local company here in Oklahoma that is always willing to help in any regard. So feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you may have. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're here to do.
Okay, and I have one more.
I was just going to say, we're always looking for unique partnerships. So if you think you want to try to tokenize a system or whatever you do, let us know, and we'll help you do it.
And you guys are in the new movie, Black Wall Street.
Yes,
that's
Black
right.
Wall Street.
I
just saw the trailer yesterday.
Oh my
It
goodness.
is amazing.
Maybe we might have to play the trailer again at the end, just so everybody sees it. We played it at the beginning, but yeah, so it was really awesome.
Such a great job. Just
yes.
Thankful to even be considered to be part of the project.
Yes, DeKoven is he is amazing. So yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us today, and I'll be back to close us out.
Thank you, Leslie.
Appreciate it.
Life comes at you fast. Good people. Great friends. The love of a good woman. It's not always fair.
Watch where you going, boy.
Did you hear what happened?
That boy has no right.
They got Dale.
What?
Who got Dale?
I didn't do anything.
Sheriff?
Should hang for that.
So this day, they gonna know. If they take one of us, they gonna have to take us all.
I never meant for this to happen.
Introducing all new, safe, natural relief. A cannabinoid-rich, clarity and focus formula with 17 essential supplements. When it matters most, you've got a job to do. Anxiety isn't an option. Programmed to keep you moving. A product exclusively manufactured for Active Duty RX by Cantech Labs.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that was probably a lot of information, but we are going to continue having segments on cryptocurrency because we do want our audience to be educated on this. And, our audience is, the smartest and the brightest out here in the state of Oklahoma. So we want to keep you informed. Part of that is also on our website. Go to oklahomataxpayersunite.com, and there you can find our store and find all kinds of cool products that you can buy, and some really neat t-shirts. Our Moms Demand 2A t-shirts are very popular. So please do that, and I will see you next week.
When I'm with you, there's no one else around. Yeah, I'm so high, gravity can't hold me down. Imagine faith and hope so alive. You got me feeling so good, 'cause baby, you're like the sun flying high on a blue sky, shining bright into the night. The stars sparkling down, yeah, diamonds and gold can't compare to your worth. It's somewhere far beyond heaven and earth.
Hey everybody, Todd Tucker here. Are you tired of Big Mobile making deals with dirty DC politicians to amplify liberals and silence conservatives like you? Do you want the same quality of service that you get from your current provider without supporting leftist, anti-American subversives like Kendra Horn and Nancy Pelosi? Well, Patriot Mobile can help you, and they can make a great deal. Ask what Patriot Mobile can do for you, and ask what Patriot Mobile can do for your country. Call Patriot Mobile today at 877-367-7524. 877-367-7524. Be a patriot. Join Patriot Mobile.